What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. This is one of those videos where I rip apart the articles. The sources are not very credible because they don't even understand the silver markets, but they're still gonna make the article. They're still gonna post this stuff because it gets views and it also portrays silver in a negative light. First things first, though, make sure you're subscribed. I'm actually in the middle of a 36,000 subscriber giveaway. It still is time to enter. You still got time to enter if you want to win some free silver. I'm also doing a giveaway at 37,000 subscribers and at 38,000 and at 39,000 and then 40,000. I'm giving away over $1,000 worth of silver. So if you're not pushing that subscribe button, I don't know what you're doing. Plus, on top of all that, I post daily videos covering everything you need to know about the precious metals market. You could see this article was written today. The next article we're going to cover later in the video is also written today, always keeping you guys in the loop. Now, this is one of those funny type of articles we're gonna dissect, right? We're gonna break this stuff down. It's talking about Reddit group fails in effort to squeeze the silver market, and you realize that they post this after everything happens, after the correction happens. Of course, there's going to be a correction. It was way overbought. No market ever just goes up. There has to be a correction, a sell-off. If it just keeps going up, it's going to crash extremely bad. Like Bitcoin, when it hit $18,000 in 2017, that crashed so bad, it took years to even get past $10,000 again. We didn't want that. This is actually healthy for silver. We needed a correction, a dip right now, and that's actually healthy for it in the longer term. We built stability up around the $25 range. So that is the new normal. We're not going to see $19, $18 silver anymore. That's in the past. The bottom is 25. Since it hit 30 and we've stayed at 25 for so many months now, it's only going to scrape the bottom of 25 and bounce between that and 30. Once it breaks past 30, we're on to 50. That's the new normal. So anyone trying to say that this didn't help silver just doesn't understand how markets work. This actually did. It gave new investors new insight, new potential, new opportunity, but also, not only that, now silver's time is here. It's in the spotlight. People have it on their radar. That's what silver needed because it is a much smaller market. It's usually swept under the rug. Now people see it has potential. Now, let's go into this. What worked for Reddit group with GameStop is failing in the silver market. That's already wrong. This wasn't a failure. This is perfect. This was a perfect scenario. Just because it didn't keep going up and up and up and up doesn't mean that it can't right now. It's been 3 days since the article was written. Why are they already deeming it a failure? Because they don't want precious metals to take over. They don't want people to see the precious metals is actually a safer, smarter investment than stocks, than things that are pegged to the dollar. When things are pegged to the dollar, when the dollar crashes or collapses, those things go with it. They don't want you to put your money in precious metals because you've taken the power away from them and put it into your own hands. Things that are pegged to the dollar, you don't own that. The dollar's backed by nothing. There's no value there. Precious metals have intrinsic value. It's not the price tag attached to that 1 ounce coin. It's the metal content inside of it. Spot price is essentially irrelevant, at the end of the day, because the value, the real money of that 1 ounce coin is how much silver is inside of it, and not how much spot price is. And there's nothing else like that. Monday saw the price of the iShares Silver Trust SLV exchange traded fund jump $27.92, up around 25 late Friday. But by Tuesday morning, the rally had completely reversed. The fund was recently trading lower than 25 a share. In other words, it was fetching less than what it was selling for late Friday. It's because people are selling and they're short selling, they're panic selling. But are you really surprised? I mean, these are new investors into the precious metals market. They don't understand how silver works. They don't understand that silver is more a hedge against inflation and it's a gradual appreciating type of investment. It's not a get rich quick scheme like they portrayed it to be, right? Silver isn't for the quick bang for your buck. Silver is something you invest into and hold it for 15, 20 years. I'm not planning on selling my silver for at least 15, 20 years, right? Honestly, I mean, if it does hit $50, $100 in the next year or a couple of years, I might sell some, but that's not going to be the majority of my selling, right? I might sell some just to take some profits and invest that into something else, or maybe if silver dips down from there, I mean, who knows? Taking it day by day, but regardless, silver is a hedge against inflation. You're putting your money into something that holds value while the dollar is weakening in value. You're putting your money into real money, essentially, right? The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, and it's only going down, 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 down. So if you want to protect your wealth, then you put it into something that has intrinsic value, which is precious metals. It's also why it's called a safe haven metal. Now, anyways, the supposed attempt by Redditors to engineer a short squeeze in the silver is not going as well. And, I mean, we're literally on day 3, and there had to be a correction. There had to be. The idea of a short squeeze, which involves driving the price of a security higher for forcing those betting on a price drop to buy back their positions, worked well with GameStop. Well, of course, it's a much, much, much smaller market, and it's based off speculation. GameStop is totally different than precious metals. The company, which isn't doing well, saw its stock price jump in a spectacular manner after members of a Reddit chat group pushed up the price of the stock enough to force sellers to exit their positions. And here's the thing. This is another thing. I'm glad that silver isn't affected like GameStop. Silver shouldn't be a speculative type of investment. You shouldn't be able to affect the price of silver that dramatically, that drastically, just from doing something like Redditors. Silver goes off supply and demand. Something that has physical, that you could hold physically, that's dug out of the ground, you cannot create it nor destroy it, which is the definition of money, something that cannot be created nor destroyed. Something like that shouldn't be speculative. You shouldn't be able to affect the price from a single tweet from Donald Trump. You shouldn't be able to pull a shindig like that and really affect the price to a large degree. That would be very bad for silver in the long term. I want silver to have real influential value, things that matter to affect the price, not just a whole bunch of people buying it real quick trying to squeeze it. Now, yes, it was fun. Yes, you could have made some money, but honestly, $1,000 was not a real number. $100 is definitely possible, because even before this Reddit thing, I was making videos about $100 silver. Citibank, Bank of America, big banks, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, they're calling for $50, $100 silver by the end of 2021, way before this Reddit stuff. I was making videos about them saying this months ago, covering articles, explaining why. They would break down why they think silver will be $100 by the end of the year. We still have a long way to go. It's literally only the beginning of the second month of 2021. A lot can happen in the next 11 months. However, that likely won't work with the silver market, like I was saying. First problem is that commodity market isn't much like the stock market, what I was just talking about. Maybe Redditors didn't check their data. However, in this case, the Reddit crew may have just read the wrong data. They're saying that, in other words, Redditors may have a further misconception in the silver market that there's a shortage of silver. That's something that Redditors may have believed. If they did, then they're wrong. This is something that's very controversial. It's very loose, because there is a shortage of silver in the eyes of supply and demand. Recirculating supply gets thrown away. Miners haven't really been digging up silver. When the demand, see, this is where Silver is scarce, and if you're going to argue that, look at the premiums on American Eagles, and not the premiums from this short squeeze, the premiums for the last several months that's been happening, where American Eagles have $10 premium as much as a Panda. That's because it's scarce. That's because there's not enough silver to go around. That doesn't mean that there's a silver shortage. It means it's scarce at the moment from the global pandemic, and the miners like Mexico and Peru having to shut down mines, not distributing enough silver. The U.S. Mint had to make a million American Eagles as a limited or an emergency supply at the end of last year. U.S. Mint literally cut off distributing any more silver or gold Eagles. They literally won't give out any more. So these dealers, at the end of their stock, that's that. Since people don't know the reality, they go off of things that they assume. That's a very sticky subject. I've covered the official statements from the Silver Institute, which is the holy grail of information when it comes to shortages, supply and demand. They tell the exact numbers. The only source in the world that posts the exact numbers. They're the only ones that get that information. Only ones that source that information. And I go over the articles, or I go over, the sources, and I break it down, and I can see year after year what the pattern is. Even the Silver Institute, the holy grail of information, is extremely bullish on silver. They released their forecast, and they're predicting 30 plus. I think they even said 40 something, and that's minimal. Everyone that gives a forecast, they don't want to say their maximal price. They're talking minimal. So there's reasons for all this stuff. We have billionaires investing into silver. I've covered 2 different videos on these multi-billionaires that are investing in this silver. I mean, there has to be context. Like my last video, there was making all these points. There were great points too, but there's no context behind it. If you want people to read or listen to information you're saying, you can't just say something. You have to explain why you're saying it. Just like when I tell you guys to say silver's price, tell me what you guys think silver's price is going to be, and I'll say comment down below. But don't just comment the price. Tell me why. Right? Tell me why you think it's going to be $30. Tell me why you think it's going to be $100 in the next 6 months. Don't just say that. I mean, a poll's video is different. I made a poll. But when we're talking about actual context, it really does matter. It matters a lot. I can tell you all day long that pandas are my favorite coin. But if I don't tell you why, then does it really matter for me to say that to you? So there is no shortage of silver per se. There is a shortage of silver coins and small bars. They're explaining there's plenty of large bars around, which is true. But when you're talking about demand of coins, that's a whole different ballgame than bars. And when you're looking at, an American Eagle shortage, right? There was an American Eagle shortage at the beginning of last year when the pandemic started. And you can't just make coins out of thin air all of a sudden. You can only, you can only make so many coins at once, and when you're not expected, when there's a global pandemic that hits you out of left field, out of nowhere, you can't just make coins appear. Now, this is another article, and it's from Money Metals, which is interesting. It's called Rut Row Silver, and it looks at things backwards. They're saying that this has a reverse effect and will actually hurt silver in return. But I really hope, and I haven't read too deep into this article, I really hope they understand that in the short, immediate term, it could have a back play. It could, it could come twofold, but in the medium to longer term, this could actually be healthy, right? You have to give the full shebang. You have to play the tape through. You have to show the bigger picture. If you only show right now, then you're going to scare people. You have to show not only what the immediate effects are going to be, but how is this going to play out over time, because there's so many things next up in line that are going to highly affect the price of silver, like the stimulus getting thrown out, like this virus still spreading, right? There's so many with the green energy revolution and the amount of silver that's going to take, and how many more trillions of dollars we're going to throw out for the failing vaccine, and all the things with 5G to electric vehicles and space equipment. All of that requires a lot of silver. So you can't just say something immediate right now and say that silver, it affected it and it's dead now. It's a dead market. That's so untrue. Now, I like this part. It gets the point across very good right here. So, sometimes you can count on the manipulation conspiracy theorists to get it exactly wrong. Not just a little bit wrong, not halfway wrong, not even mostly wrong, totally wrong, backwards. Now, he's talking about, so he says, you open the newspaper to an article on some subject you know well. In Murray's Gell-Mann case, physics. In mine, show business. You read the article and see the journalist has absolutely no understanding of either the facts or the issues. Often the article is so wrong it actually presents the story backwards, reversing cause and effect. I call these wet streets 'cause rain stories, papers full of them. In any case, you read with exasperation or amusement the multiple errors in a story, and then turn the page to national or international affairs, and you read as if the rest of the newspaper was somehow more accurate. You turn the page and forget what you know. The headlines blaring about the disconnect between paper and physical markets or silver is worse than it gets. They are in effect saying wet street caused sunshine. So what happened? Paper was bought up at a furious rate by speculators using leverage. We assume that they are trying to front run a GameStop level times 12. Don't believe what you read. The price of physical silver has moved much higher than the price of paper. In fact, it's the price of futures contracts which took off. When last wrote on Friday, the premium to buy a March futures contract compared to spot silver was 10 cents. On Monday, the premium hit 50 cents, as we shall see below. The conspiracy mongers prey on confusion between silver eagles and spot silver. Retail customers often buy these coins, but coin manufacturing depends on tooling, which is inelastic. It does not increase the capacity when 1 million retail buyers read an article on Reddit. So the premium for minted silver products can skyrocket. That's why you're seeing American Eagles not the same price as, spot silver. They have premiums. American Eagles still can be collectible. There still can grow premiums. And if you're looking at spot silver or the most generic form, it's a completely different. That's why I say, the paper markets and the physical silver, it's essentially the same, but the key word's essentially. It's not exactly the same. Essentially is because you're talking about the silver market, but there still is a lot of difference. This is a premium on Eagles, not on silver metals per se, and that's exactly true. American Eagles, they're selling for $40 a coin, but spot silver was $29. That's still a $10 premium. That doesn't mean spot silver is $40. That means an American Eagle is. But you can still get cheaper silver if you're buying a generic round or, some type of generic mint like Sunshine. The global silver market, and hold on. So, especially because American Eagles are the world's most recognizable coin. I can take an American Eagle to China, to Africa, and people would see that coin and know it has value. They might not know about the silver or how valuable silver is, but that coin represents value, represents some type of worth. No other coin in the world can do that. I can't take a Chinese panda everywhere around and people would know that's valuable. An American Eagle, though, that coin is universally accepted and people know it. And that's very important for something. It's like everyone speaking the same language on a monetary form, right? Imagine how beneficial it would be if the entire world spoke the same language. That's what like an American Eagle is in the precious metals world. So to say that has the spot silver price and can't gain premiums is silly. Just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's universally sell. There's no Bitcoin of China. There's no Bitcoin of USA. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. And that's what makes that's one of the benefits of it. Now, the global silver market does not use a 1-ounce retail product as the benchmark of the price, just like global coffee market does not use Starbucks mocha latte in Midtown as the benchmark. Miners, refiners, financiers, manufacturers, and warehousemen do not deal in 1 ounce retail products. That would like looking rising price of a cup of coffee in town that is increasing in downtown zoning restrictions. So, um, at the peak of the madness, traders paid such a high premium for paper compared to spot that the March contract traded, annualizing 10% more than, the physical. That works out to around 50 cents. Now you have seen this, you know that anyone telling you the metal trades at premium to futures is either misinformed or trying to misinform you. There's a lot of misinformation, and not only just from one side, but both sides. I can definitely say that. When I first heard of this short squeeze, I was really worried. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she was like, "You don't look so hot." She's like, "Is this really bad?" I said, "No, it's not really bad. It's not how silver's supposed to work, right? I mean, it was fun to get on the bandwagon, and I bought 80 ounces of silver because I knew it was going to sell out, right? I knew that you couldn't buy silver anywhere, and just in case that, because who knows when it did get, and that actually happened. Sunday night when the markets reopened, silver was sold out faster than you could say a really quick word. I don't know what to say, but seriously, you couldn't get silver anywhere. And a lot of places are backed up for weeks, right? 10, 15 days. That's serious. I mean, that's crazy. The place that I bought from, Pinehurst, actually never got sold out. I went to Atmex, was on the loading screen page for like an hour till I just had to give up because it kept crashing. JM Bullion completely crashed. The site was down, offline. So I found Pinehurst coins, and they had 2 tubes. And then I looked at Silver Gold Bull. They did, but they didn't have the same price. So I went back to Pinehurst and bought 2 more tubes. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm not sitting here saying, man, this influenced me to impulse buy, because I still would all day pay $30 for an ounce of silver. I know silver's true value, right? I can guarantee in the 15, 20 years that I'm not, until I sell, silver's not going to be $30. In 2 decades from now, silver's not going to still be $30. So I think I'm going to make my money back and some. See, anyone who's trying to do this just, and that's why I ask you guys, when are you going to sell? If you're going to be selling in like a year or so, then silver might not be the best investment for you. It's a longer term preservation of wealth. It's a hedge against inflation. So anyways, they're definitely, and I like this part right here, actually. There ought to be a term for when someone offers 2 arguments without noticing that one contradicts the other. Either physical is a divorcing from the paper, or margin requirements for paper is hurting the price of physical. Pick one horse to ride, not both. Of course, there is a force that keeps the price of silver and the physical and paper markets tied together. That force is arbitrage. I mean, that's buying spot and selling futures like mad. How often do you get a pocket 53 cents per ounce just to warehouse silver for 2 months? So there is a lot of gray area, to say the least. This article focused a lot on the paper and the physical side, but like I said, there's a lot more to it. A lot of other things that they just looked at the Reddit story. They didn't go ahead a couple months at all. They didn't look at anything besides just the story itself, and that's, mainly because this is written from a precious metals site. But still, if you're looking at the grand scheme of things, this is a drop of water in an ocean. This is one thing that can and did kickstart people's attention, like I said earlier, put precious metals, especially silver, on the radar. But I don't think in the grand scheme of things, this is going to be necessarily bad at all. Actually, this is good. The correction was needed. Now we know that silver's price stabilized around $25. That's stability. See that right there? That's a support level. See this right here? That's the resistance level. It's going to bounce between $25 and $30. But when it breaks past $30, probably when stimulus gets thrown out in a couple months or whatever, that's when we're going to see $50. that's when we're going to see 50. And when it breaks past 50, which is the resistance level of all time, because $50 silver is the highest it's ever been. It hit $50 silver in 1980 and 2011. That's when we're going to see $100 silver. Just like when Bitcoin finally broke past $10,000 for the first time, it went up to $15,000 within like a couple of days. See, that's way too fast. But the point is, once it breaks past a resistance that has been happening for 30 years, that's where the sky's the limit. And once we break past that 30, which is going to happen sooner than later, it's not if but when, that's when we're going to be seeing these much higher silver prices that everyone's been talking about. I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos. Go enter my 36,000 subscriber giveaway. Trust me, you want to enter that. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.